Hello, farmers, and welcome to another episode of the harvest season. My name is Cody,
And my name is Johnny.
and we are here to talk about cottagecore games.
Mm.
Woo! Today's topic is the Animal Crossing Pocket Camp Complete, which Johnny has played and I have not. Um, but I did play the first Pocket Camp, so we will get to talk about all that. Before that, we have some small amount of news. We'll probably still figure out how to make it last an hour though. But before that, what have you been up to, Johnny?
Not too much. I'm just keeping the Pocket theme rolling with Pokemon Pocket TCG.
Mm-hmm.
And like it's real good. Opening a couple of packs every day is fun. Like collecting cards is fun. Playing the
Mm-hmm.
actual battles is more fun than I was expecting. It's real good. And we've now entered like the phase of the life cycle of the game where everyone has turned into whiny little complaint bots that are just like shut up and stop talking is kind of my opinion on I've heard people complaining about like, oh, I haven't opened a new card in like 4 weeks, and it's like, well, yeah, because you opened 100 packs when the set came out, and now you've got all of the cards. There's
Mm-hmm.
literally no new cards to open except the super rare things, which, if you got one of those every day, wouldn't be super rare. Like,
Mm-hmm.
logic, not that hard.
It's because they're
Second thing that people,
they're game guzzlers.
yeah, they are game guzzlers. And it's like, if you're a game guzzler, that's fine. Shut up. Stop complaining. It's very annoying. And then you've got the
We
people who complain about the events. We've got the 5 win streak event going on at the moment, and
okay.
people complain about that. And I'm like, if you complain about that event, you are bad at the game. Like people complain because they say that like this game is too luck based. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
is there luck in this game? Yes. Is there more luck in this game than a lot of other phone-based TCGs? Not really. It's pretty much the same. Like there is a high skill ceiling on this game, but yeah, people would rather just lose and complain about luck. And like, what's the reward for getting the 5 medals? It's an emblem. That does literally nothing. The only things more useless in the game are like the backgrounds and the like whatever the other stupid cosmetics are and those things that nobody ever looks at. Like, it does not matter. So stop complaining. Because for some of us, it's a very fun event. Trying to get to 5 wins in a row is an actual challenge, and some of us like that. So if you are complaining about Pocket Camp, the problem is you, not the app. Shut up. Stop complaining. There, I've had my rant. I've been holding this in all week,
I
and
could tell.
I knew that I was coming on. And I just need to get that out. And now I feel better because I've
Yay.
told people that need to shut up to shut up.
Yay. I'm so happy for you. Um, I also still play that. I guess I didn't put that on my list, but I do still play that every day. I just do the daily like basic stuff that so like get the open the 2 packs, get a do a wonder thingy, um, all that to get my daily stuff. And I haven't been doing um the battles as much, but I did when I was doing the battles, I agree like they were actually challenging and I mean they have as much luck as regular TCG games do. So,
Yep.
such is
And I think
life.
you hit on my favorite thing about Pokemon Pocket, which is you can play. It's a phone game that you
Hmm.
can play every day and complete the dailies in literally 2 minutes.
Yep.
Like you do not have to do a battle. The way the whole thing is designed is one of the least predatory forms of the sort of game development that I've seen, right? Like it is not vying for your time. You know, I used to
Hmm.
play Marvel Snap, and the big reason that I fell off is it just felt like to get all of the stuff, you kind of had to be doing half an hour worth of battles a day as
Hmm.
a minimum. And it was fighting for time. Pocket is not. It's like we're here for 2 minutes. Open us, open a pack, get a little dopamine hit, and then close us or not. We don't really mind. If you want to play us, play us. If you don't want to
Hmm.
play us, don't. Like it's great. And like I find myself there are days where it's like, yeah, I want to jump in and do some battles, and I'll spend half an hour playing some battles. And then there are other days where I'm like, not really like it's I'm just too busy. And like I don't have that itch in my brain that says, but you got to do the dailies because I already did the
Hmm.
dailies because they were super fast. So I'm a big fan of like the underlying design of Pokemon Pocket.
I definitely agree. I think that I really appreciate when games don't punish you for having like a life happen where you're just not
Yes,
able to play as much as even you might like. But you just have to dial it back a little bit, and that's okay.
absolutely.
Yeah, so I agree. Is what else have you been playing? Or is that it?
Uh, yeah, I've kind of been in a weird, like, weird is not the wrong word. It's summer. I just haven't been playing games. I've been outside.
That's fair. Man, I cannot relate.
Yeah, because
You're
it's not summer.
it
So,
is
so what have you been playing?
it is not summer. I've been getting into a really good groove of doing my specimens because that deadline of having to graduate by October sure is looming. But I've been playing also Pokemon TCG. Still playing Honey Grove, which is a really fun game that we've talked about on the podcast before. It is the only farming game that I've ever played for the podcast that I continue to play. And then I have a cross stitch game on my phone that I just call my coloring game because you're basically just coloring. And I do that with my grandma, and I really enjoy it. And so that takes some of my brain power when I need to shut my brain off from science. And then the last one is a secret thing that might come up in a future episode. So listeners,
What?
continue to listen so that you can know what the secret game is.
Very, like, what, we made it 5 minutes into the episode before Cody promised something in the future. And
Yep.
Al's not here today, so we're going to get a lot of promises today. So look
Yeah,
forward to that, listeners.
100%. Um, I feel really confident about this promise though.
Right.
So
Are you having fun with the secret third thing?
so far, yes. I have been tempted to possibly invest money into the secret thing.
Ah,
There are ways to do so, and it's not expensive. And so, but we will see if I'm still playing it consistently. When next you hear me speak of it, then perhaps if I will invest money. Stay tuned for that, I guess. Yeah. So that is what we have been up to. Wow, look at that. We're only over like 10 minutes.
look, it might be a shorter episode today. It's
Oh
January,
no,
then
oh no. You said it. You said it. It's not going to be short now.
there's not much
Uh,
news.
I'm sure
Uh,
I want more rants. You ranted a little bit in the beginning, and I want more of that. Okay. So the next thing that we're going to talk about is all of our news. Um, the first bit of news is Into the Emberlands has their 1.0 out now. This is the game that used to be called Wonderful. I have no memory of this game, but okay. And there is now a new village level and a new biome. There's a golden skin for your character if you beat the game and get credits. And they say that there are three quote unquote epic end game items. They don't really have photos of them or anything, so I cannot confirm the epic level of these items, but it's intriguing. Yeah, it's a fairly inexpensive game. It's like under $7 USD, and it is 25% off on Steam until February 3rd. So you got a little bit of time. If this is a game that you are interested in and waiting for 1.0, now's your chance to get it also a little cheaper. Was
yeah,
this on
and it
your
looks
list at all?
no, but that's I think partly because it's sort of like in case people don't remember, this is the game where you're going out and exploring something called the miasma to find like your people who have been lost and bringing them back to a village
Hmm.
that you are building up. And so the vibe is maybe a little bit more survival game slash RTS, and I mean RTS in sort of like the way you build up a village. Like it's that more sort of not quite top-down style, building connecting roads and quite a large village rather than something small and more intimate and based on your character. But it's got a very cute art style. Like it looks like um, a fun game. If what I said sounds like the sorts of things that tickle your brain, I think this looks like a very fun thing. And like Cody said, at the price, like it
Yeah.
seems like a little bit of a no-brainer to try out.
Yeah. Cool. The next one, I know you were excited about, Johnny, is Tiny
Yeah,
Garden. So this is what I've just been calling the Polly Pocket game.
because it is the Polly Pocket game. Yep,
And
that's what we've all been calling.
if you don't know what a Polly Pocket is, I refuse to explain it to you. I'm not that old. Everyone should know what a Polly Pocket is.
I mean, I
Um,
don't think that's accurate, but just in case anyone doesn't know, you are in this game, you are building a farm inside a kind of like a locker, right? So it opens up and there is on the vertical part, there is your house, and on the horizontal part, that's where you can sort of build your farm. One of the features, I guess, is that there's a crank that you turn, which looks like I'm assuming turning the crank signifies like the passing of time.
yeah,
And
maybe.
that's what causes crops to grow and those sorts of things. And based on what they're showing, my assumption is the gameplay loop is you grow crops down the bottom to earn currency to then decorate up the top. And one of the things that I like about this idea, one, it's like a fun idea for a way to sort of constrain the space that you are building in, but also the
Hmm.
idea of like decorating your sort of vertical space in that sort of Polly Pocket style is like quite a cool and different way to decorate because you're not decorating as much of a 3D house style space. So it's just a little bit of a different lens
Yeah,
on that, which looks cool and cute.
I agree.
Oh,
Um,
wait, did we actually say the news? The news
nope.
is that they've got a release date.
Yeah.
It is coming to Steam on April 8th, which is relatively soon.
Yeah.
So that is very exciting.
Yeah. Um, and they don't have a price listed on Steam yet. But they do have a Discord. So if you're interested and you want to be like kind of in the know of this kind of stuff, you can join their Discord and kind of have that information.
Cody, are we going to promise an episode on Tiny Garden?
How do you feel? Do you feel like
Absolutely.
you could promise that?
I feel like I could promise that.
Okay. Johnny will promise. Not all promises come from me, but they have to be vetted by me. All promises have to be vetted by me. So, yes, I will let you promise to do an episode on this. Yeah, 100%.
Basically.
Yeah, it's really cute. Next is Echoes of the Plum Grove. So this game is already out in a lot of versions, but the Switch version is now announced to be releasing on the 13th of February. And it will be 10% off until the 22nd of February. So I believe it's a $20 game. And so you'll be able to save a little bit of money if you order it ahead of time. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Nice. And
I,
Echoes of the Plum Grove is I don't think we've covered it on the show,
Not
but
yet,
I'm
yeah, no.
pretty sure Kat in the Slack was playing it and they were
Oh, okay.
having a very good time with it. So it's one that's sort of like bumped up on my list. And I feel like it will be a good candidate for Switch because it's got that the art style is very reminiscent of like a Paper Mario.
Oh,
Um, and so I think like I think the art style will work. The gameplay looks relatively simple. I think it will be a really good candidate for like playing on your Switch in handheld mode, in particular. So I think this is a a good move. And let's just hope that the game can actually run on the Switch because I feel like that is now a concern for every Switch game that's coming out in 2025.
Yeah.
Not because
Um,
of the developers, to be clear, but because of where the Switch is at from a performance perspective.
womp womp.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there is that. Next is Amber Isle. So this is actually pretty much the exact same news that they have a Switch version coming out on 13th of February. However, they also have a pre-order up until the release of 20% off, which is super interesting and cool. Again, this is another one that I didn't remember, so just reminding folks, this is a dino-centric shop management sim, so everyone is like a dinosaur. And so you can befriend up to 48 what they call paleo folk, and you decorate and rebuild the island. So looks like dinosaurs might be the this year's like hot thing or this time period's hot thing because we're getting a lot of dino games.
I feel like we are, but I don't feel like dinosaurs are that popular right now.
I mean, the demand must be there.
Must it? I feel
It
like indie
must.
video games are much more based around what the creator wanted to make and then what the market is demanding.
That's still a form of demand. It's just a different form of demand.
Demand of one.
Yeah, a single demand. Um, I mean that's a pretty good strategy though, because most people, if at least one person wants it, there's gonna be more people that want it too. So
No, that is in fact not a good strategy. And you've just hit on like what I do for a day job, and this is the problem that most people make. They're like, I'm gonna build the thing that I want, and then they are shocked that nobody else
oh
wants that
no.
thing.
Oh no. That's so unfortunate. Um, well, I'm sure that some of our hosts are super excited about this because they love dinosaurs. So
Shout out to Spencer.
big shout out. Next is Ova Magica. So I want to note here that Al said that the point 0.8 update was out now, but it is actually the 0.805 update. So it's different. So they say that if you update your game, make sure that it's version 0.805. So this version adds a couple different things. One of them is the Blob Temple, which is a new world in which there will be some new blobs like the tiger blob, red panda blob, peacock, the panda, that kind of stuff. It's a really pretty area. Looked really beautiful. They also add the greenhouse, where you can grow things all across the year. There's the cave behind the waterfall, and there's like a boss blob in here that looks kind of horrifying. Did you see it, Johnny?
I don't think I did.
So it looks like it's like a scorpion's tail, but it has
Oh
ram's
yeah.
horns. It just looks like I was like it's a devil blob basically, but then the more you look at it, the more like as scary as a blob could be. It's a
He just
little
looks a little angry.
he is angry. You are right. Um I guess I'm just like thinking about how it would move. And that's where some of my horror comes from. But I'm sure it's probably adorable in actual movement. There is also the Blob Paradise, which is basically just an agility course, and I am here for it. I want to see kind of like Westminster version, like blob championships where your blobs run the agility courses as fast as they can, and may the fastest blob win. I cannot wait to.
Is your idea of paradise an agility course?
I'm sure that my dog's idea of paradise is an agility course. When I was doing training with Stella, they had an agility course like at the place. And they only had some of the stuff set up though. But she loved it. Like the second that she knows that she's supposed to be like working for something, she is just so engaged and she has so much fun. And so I could just see her having the best of times. And anything that makes my dog happy makes me happy. So yeah, it probably could be considered my paradise. Um, they have other small improvements and bug fixes in the 0.805 update. And they say that the point 0.9 update will have more heart events and another world that is currently redacted in the show note in their not show notes, but in their roadmap. So, have you played this yet?
No, and I don't think I will.
Okay. I every time I see it, I'm like, "Oh yeah, this game, I want to play it." And then the world turns and time moves on. But because it looks really
Yeah, to me, this game sort of like sits in the realm where it kind of feels like it's, like it's a bit Pokemon, it's a bit Stardew Valley, but I'm not sure what it is,
mm,
you know?
mm-hmm.
Because it's like, yeah, so like, I just, to me, this game lacks the thing that makes, like, the thing that gets me excited is when I look at a game and I'm like, oh, like, I can see what you're going for here. Like, I can see what is different. And, like, I think the next game that we'll talk about is a really good example of one of those.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and this one is kind of just like, I like Pokemon and I like Stardew, and here's a game that's Pokemon and Stardew, which is like, sure, fine, but I can play Pokemon and I can play Stardew. Why do I want to play this?
But
And
it's
I'm not sure why I
but
want
it's
to play
Pokemon
this.
and Stardew as blobs, as little guys.
Yeah, like I don't know, cute stuff is like dime a dozen these days.
I there is no end to the amount of dopamine that I need and serotonin that I need in this world right now. Um, you don't live in the political climate that I live in.
That is fair.
I crave distraction. Um, yeah. So you said you really interested in this next game?
Like actually, I'm not. So Al and I, the next game is Overthrown, and Al and I did covered it on the demo episode where Al played Overthrown and I played Luma Island.
Hmm.
Uh, and so Overthrown is the sort of I call it Minecraft adjacent game where you are basically throwing stuff. So you can go and cut down trees, or you can just throw the sawmill at the trees, and that will also cut down the trees, which is a fun concept. I think the game looks like it's like a fun concept, but they kind of ran out of ideas after that. But at least they're
Hmm.
very clear about what they are, right? Like they are trying to be silly and fun and have weird interactions and all of those sorts of things. And to that, they have a relatively big update that is coming on the 30th of January, which is the livestock update. So it introduces a farmable creature, the woolly, which I guess is a sheep.
Hmm.
Um, it introduces fire and mortars. So it just gives you fire bombs, and it says they can be used against structures. So I guess it's the chaos thing where you can just firebomb your own buildings.
Well, I think
Which,
it's up to six. You can have up to six people on a server, I think is what
yes,
it's
you
going
can.
for. So you'd firebomb your friends' buildings.
That makes way more sense.
Gotta,
And
I
then
mean,
there's
that's part of the fun is in like Minecraft also is like watching your friend build this awesome thing and then accidentally having
sure.
a creeper blow it up.
And then there's some new buildings as well, and most of the new buildings just sound like they're there to support the fire bombs and the woolies.
Yeah. Um, I loved that with the woolies, it says that they have a barn, quote, for when they are not in their gigantic evil mutated forms, causing devastating damage to everyone around them. I love the way that the developers talk in this like release or news like Steam update because it just they have fun with the game and I can tell.
Yeah, and like they've got such a clear vision for this game. Like it really comes
Yeah.
through even in their communications, right? And like for me, that was the difference between something like Overthrown and something like Over Magica.
Yeah. Well, and I think that like I loved when I was watching it just looks ridiculous. Like when I was watching the thing and I was like, they literally just threw a sawmill at the tree. Like, I want to use this sawmill, or I want to like you can either throw the tree at the sawmill or throw the sawmill at the tree. And I'm like, what? Like,
Yep.
just throw the whole building at
It's
it. It's
yeah.
goofy, but awesome. So, the other they have some other small things in this update, but they say that the next update in quote unquote spring 2025, we'll see, is called the Parks Update, and it will add some new plants, some new decorations, as well as the mechanism of pollution. So excited to out pollute my friends in a video game, not in real life. Make sure to recycle, kids. And then the last thing that we have here is a game called Grandpa's Farm. So this is a little different than normal. It's not a video game. It's a tabletop role-playing game. It's only $7 USD, which is pretty awesome. And I just have some blurbs. I was trying to figure out how to summarize it, and I was like, they just say it on their words on their itch.io page anyway. So I'm just going to read this. Quote, Grandpa's Farm is a letter writing role playing game inspired by slow life video games like Harvest Moon, Animal Crossing, and Stardew Valley. In Grandpa's Farm, you've inherited a long neglected farmstead and are about to spend the next 4 years of your life getting it up and running again. Each turn, you'll draw from a deck of playing cards and interpret card values to determine the progress made on your farm over the course of a single season. With that progress in mind, you'll then chronicle your revitalization efforts by writing a letter to a loved one. Optional mechanics are also included that allow you to alter your deck by trading or competing at festivals. Removing cards will make certain kinds of progress more likely, and festivals can be roleplayed either alone or with fellow players. I think this is a really cool concept. I'm also big on games that you can play alone. One of the games that I got when I went to PAX Unplugged was a game called Dog Park, where you literally just take dogs to a dog park. And one of the reasons I like it so much is because you can play a single player version. It just kind of adds like two random NPC characters that you just roll for, and that determines like how much they screw you over. So yeah, and I like the concept of writing a letter. I think
Me
there's
too.
a lot of new stuff happening in this.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of tabletop games, like particularly like this sort of game, which is, pen and paper based. It's like very accessible. And like you, I think games that have a one-player mode are really good, particularly in this day and age, where like, sometimes it's just hard for calendars to line up and to see people and to have something like this to do is great. And I think, like you, the idea of writing a letter as sort of the point of the game
Hmm.
is a really cool idea. It's a really great way to sort of tell the story of what's happened. Because a lot of these sort of tabletop RPG games, like that's what you're doing is telling a story, and it's very on theme for Stardew like inspired games to, kind of capture that story in something like Letter.
Yeah. Um, I mean, I'm definitely intrigued and I might get it since it's so inexpensive. I don't know how we would have a podcast episode about it, but I guess I could like if we have an episode where we just kind of cover a smattering of things, I could mention it in that episode, but um I am interested, especially it's only $7. They basically just the $7 gives you access to the PDF of the game, like how to play the game and stuff. But that's just really accessible, and I appreciate access to their creativity. So pretty cool. Have you ever
Very
played
cool.
any? Do you play TTRPGs much?
I used to. I haven't played so much in like the last few years, but
Okay.
yeah, I used to play them quite a bit.
Okay. I'm getting more into that kind of stuff. And Jeff is actually from when we went to PAX, he saw this like table, like a coffee table and a card table like thing, and now he really wants to get one where it's it looks like a normal like coffee table, for example, but then you can take off like the top level of it and there's a felt table under that for like
Hmm.
puzzles or games or something. These tables are like 2 grand, but he's like, it'll be worth it. I'm like, okay,
It will
whatever.
100% be worth it. Those tables are great.
Yeah. And I think it just like it inspires more of that type of gameplay and stuff. And I mean, we want to get more into it. It's just really fun to do together. So, yeah, maybe when we get into that, this game will make its debut in my home. So, cool. Well, that is the news. We really are flying through things right now. Uh, we could go slower.
Look, let's not, berate our listeners by like talking about things where we have nothing to say and just,
It's true.
I know
I've
we
just
could do that, but let's not do that to them.
just am like shocked because normally we're like, oh, this will be a fast episode, and then we're like, it's 1 a.m. It's an over exaggeration, but that's how it feels sometimes. Yeah, so that's all the news. So we've come to our main topic, which is Animal Crossing Pocket Camp Complete. So again, just a reminder, this is something I have not played, but Johnny has been playing.
But you have played because you've played Animal Crossing Pocket Camp.
I've played the yeah, that version. I guess that was one of my
It's the same
questions.
game.
Okay, that was one of my questions for you is what's the difference? Like why if you've played the first one, like the not the first one, but if you've played the non-complete version, what is there in this that could bring you back or like that's novel?
Cody, have you not been listening to the news on our own show?
I have, but other people might not have listened to every episode.
Good save, good save.
We need to,
Um,
yeah, for people who might not have been listening, cough, cough,
mhm.
totally not me. Uh, what's different about this, and is it worth it if you've played the other but didn't haven't played this?
So this is they shut down the like Animal Crossing Pocket Camp in December.
Hmm.
Or maybe it was the end of November last year, basically to remove, the online functionality. And they have released Pocket Camp Complete as a one-time purchase. It has all of the stuff in it from the mobile game. So it's basically just the original version with all of the stuff in offline mode. Um, that's that's what the game is. So the answer to the question of is it worth it? So first of all, you can transfer your save.
Okay, that was another
Uh,
question.
you can bring over your old save, and whether or not it's worth it is, well, why did you stop playing? Did you stop playing because you got sick of, the way microtransaction based games work? In which case, yeah, this is a really good way to come back to it because there's no microtransactions.
Okay,
If you stop playing it because you were bored of the game, then probably not because it's just the same game.
okay. Is it is it only on the phones?
I assume so.
Okay. Um, yeah, I just wasn't sure if they've like added um other ways to play or not.
I don't believe so. And so maybe a good place to start is to talk about what I think. And I hadn't played Pocket Camp in like many years. I played it the year it came out and had not played it since.
Okay.
So some of this might be slightly wrong. Um, but as I said, there's only really two main differences in this version the um, to the original. And the first is in there's the quarry, and usually to access the quarry, you had to have friends, and you would talk to those friends, and they would help you out at the quarry, and it was very driven by online communication. The difference now is that you can still have friends, but you have to exchange QR codes in order to get them in. And once they're in for forever, which is quite nice. And if you don't know many other people that are playing the game, the really nice thing is on the website for the game, they have a bunch of QR codes that you can just load in and get plenty of friends that way. So there is no need to know anyone else that is playing the game. You can literally just get all of the stuff from Nintendo. But that's just, removing kind of the main online feature from the game.
Hmm.
The second is in sort of like the events. And I think what they've done in Pocket Camp, which makes a ton of sense, is the events are just way easier because they're not trying to, you know, encourage you to spend money on microtransactions to complete stuff.
Hmm.
I find you get like for most of the events, you get way too many of the resource like that you need. So at the moment, there's an event going on where you have to like pick up snow globes, and they are just a currency for crafting certain furniture items. And I think like within 2 days, I had enough to craft everything, and the event runs for like a week, right? So I could craft
Hmm.
lots of the stuff if I wanted to, which is really nice. So the events I think are a lot easier than they were in the original game.
Well, that's also nice that they give you like enough time to be able to get things done because kind of going back to our earlier conversation, like if you are only able to like check in for a day or two of the week because your week is really busy or you have a life or it's summer, um, being able to just kind of play at a minimal level but still not feel like you're missing anything is really beneficial.
Yeah, I don't know if this game is that good in that
Oh, okay.
regard because the core gameplay loop is still the same. And maybe we should just cover that very briefly,
Yeah.
because people may have forgotten. But essentially the game works on what I would say a 3 hour timer, where every 3 hours, new villagers show up at the various regions around the game. There are four regions, and an Animal Crossing style. Each of the regions has a different resource. There's one that has fruit, one that has river fish, one that has ocean fish, and one that has bugs. Um, those villagers ask for some combination of those things in order to fulfill requests, and that makes them like you more. And then liking you more like gives you crafting materials for furniture. It also enables you to invite them to your campsite, which is a fifth location where you can kind of design and place your furniture. And there are special missions, like so each villager has its like own unique piece of furniture, and if you get the friendship level high enough, they'll teach you to make it and then ask you to craft one for them.
Mm.
Um, and so there's a lot of stuff in this game that is driven by timers. And so it does have more of a, oh, I need to check in because I don't want to miss out on that, where I want to get villager level up, or my furniture has finished crafting because that's also on timers. Or there's daily missions. So there is a lot more stuff to do on this game on a regular cadence, and I still find it a little to play and the need to check it.
Okay. Womp womp. I tried to give it the benefit of the doubt.
No, I mean it's like because at its core it's still the same mobile game that it was, and it was very clearly the behavior they were trying to drive.
Hmm.
And it's still very much there. It's just for things that I think were more microtransaction heavy. They are
Hmm.
now they've just made those things more generous, I guess. So which makes sense because
Hmm.
you can't buy your way out of out of that anymore, I guess.
Yeah. Well, but that's also nice that because I feel like, especially if you do have that, if they still have that like FOMO, like you got to get things, make sure you don't miss a certain thing or whatever, like that is gonna make people want to just spend money. Um, and that's not, I mean, it's a great business strategy, but it doesn't make a good game. Like it can make it really stressful to play a game. So, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so the questions that I had, how is this different than Pocket Camp? Answered. Can you bring over your old save? Answered. Um, do you have to pay? You said yes. What is it? How much does it cost?
So I know when it was first coming out, and I can't remember when it ends, but it was $10 when it initially came out, and then if you waited too long, it was 20. And I can't remember if it changed to 20 at the start of 2025, or if you
Mm.
have until the end of January. It was one of those two. But now I cannot. I have to try and look that up and find out.
So it's on the phone,
Um,
right?
yeah.
Let me look it up. And if it is still money, I guess it'll tell me how much money it is. Animal Crossing. It is 9.99 still.
Okay. So I feel like that runs out. Oh, when does this episode come out? If you're listening to this episode when it comes out and you are interested in playing Animal Crossing Pocket Camp, like you go and buy it immediately. Otherwise, you will have to pay the idiot tax of an additional $10
I
in like
might,
a couple of days.
I'm literally just gonna do it now, even if I don't necessarily want to play right now. I feel like I'm gonna want to play eventually. So
That
purchased.
and that's exactly the like if you think that this is a thing that you will play at some point, like buy it now.
Yeah, done. So we must friend each other so that we can you give stuff to other people? Or is it just a solo game now?
It's just a solo game, but like we can still exchange the friend QR code, so
Hmm.
you can see me at Windy Pass and ask if I want to help you in the quarry. But there is no online communication aspect to this game anymore.
Okay. Uh, cool.
So
Um,
so now that the game's out, like the main thing to do, I guess, is to try and collect everything, right? And you kind of get a sense for how much stuff is in this game because
mhm.
it was out for a very long time. And sorry, I've got it open. I'm just trying to navigate to the right screen. Where
Yeah.
there's like a screen where you've got all of the they call it the complete item catalog. So one of the new currencies they added was a complete ticket, and you can just exchange that one of those tickets for a piece of like sort of specialty furniture. And there is a long list of all of the different categories of specialty furniture.
Hmm.
And there's one that I was looking for because like I like the whole time I've been talking, I've been scrolling down this list of stuff, right? And this
Oh
is
no.
each and when I say scrolling down the list, this is not the list of furniture. This is the list of categories of furniture
My
to
gosh.
go into. So I don't know exactly how many items of furniture there are. Like most of these things that I'm scrolling past have probably about 10 items to them, but there
Hmm.
was one that was 620 items. There's one that I'm pretty sure I've seen somewhere that's over 1,000. So there is a lot of furniture too. Oh yeah, there's the premium collection, which is almost 2,000 items of furniture. Now you can acquire most of this through other methods.
Hmm.
So like there's stuff like a lot of it's timed, like a lot of it's the event furniture, right? So you will get it as you sort of do events and progress through the game. But
Hmm.
just as sort of an idea of how much there is to collect, that's from the seasonal events, and then you've got fortune cookies, which is uh, an entirely separate set of huge amounts of furniture to collect. So it's just a huge, 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 huge collectathon. That's what this game
Hmm.
is.
I mean, are they going to be adding new stuff to it, or is it like
No, no, no,
this
no,
is
no,
it
no.
now? Okay. So you
This
can,
is the we're done with the game. We're shutting down the servers. Here's the full game. Play it, don't play it, whatever. Like for me, this is like I think Al and I talked about this before, but this is a really good way to wrap up a mobile game, right? Where it's like
yeah.
if you still love this game, here is a nice way to access all of the content. We're not adding anything more. It's super clear. This is the game. It is what it is.
Hmm.
Go for it.
Yeah, I like that actually. And it can just kind of join all the other Animal Crossing games in the bin, not the bin, but in the recesses of some storage somewhere for me. But we'll
Yeah.
see if I play it.
And I believe they said when they brought this out that the game is on a 4 year cycle, right? So if you start playing this game and you like want to try and get everything. I don't. I imagine you would be able to get everything before 4 years because of the way the currencies are designed. But if you were going to get everything, let's say naturally, through
Yeah.
playing the events and doing everything like that, I believe it would take you 4 years.
It's well worth $10.
Yes. Um, Maybe I'll just talk a little bit about sort of the events because, so we talked about the core gameplay loop,
Yeah.
which is about giving uh, fulfilling villager requests. So I've played for 2 months now, and it seems like the events follow the same cycle month to month, which I will admit is a bit disappointing. And I'll get the order slightly wrong, but broadly speaking, there is a flower growing event where you grow flowers. The flowers attract a specialty bug. You catch the bugs, and you get rewards for catching the bugs. So that one's about flower growing. There is an event that's about fishing in the sea. So special fish show up in the sea. They sparkle. They refresh every 3 hours. You catch them, and then you give them to uh, is it Chip? Is that what that guy's name is? Anyway, you give it to the beaver that likes fish, and you get rewards for doing that. There is a
Mhm.
bug event where a special bug shows up on the bug island. You catch them, and again, you get rewards for that. There's like some sort of, an item is dropping on the ground where you run around and pick them up, and you can use those to craft a piece of furniture. And I feel like there was a fourth event. Oh, the last event is there's the so one of the spaces is like a home designer mini
Mhm.
game where someone will have a partially completed room and you have to finish the room. So each month there will be a certain number of specialty rooms that you can do, and I think that rewards you mostly with some of the rarer crafting resources that you need for something else. And I kind of wish there was more variation to the events because like doing it month one, I was like, oh, these are cool. Like these were, interesting events,
Mhm.
mixed up the core gameplay enough. And then once I worked out that month two was basically the same events on the same loop, I was like, oh, like this is all of a sudden become a lot less interesting.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm probably gonna bounce off this pretty quick.
Yeah. But it's compelling enough to try and stick it out, at least to begin the process of like completing your decks, not decks, but I guess it is your decks, your furniture decks or whatever. Like,
Yeah, like
are you gonna keep playing it still?
I don't think so.
Oh.
And I think the reason for that is there's too much, right? Like
Oh.
there's so much to complete that completing it actually does not feel like something that I want to do. Um,
Mm-hmm.
it's like, and they're very generous with the currencies in this game. I feel like completing it would be possible. It just takes a lot of time, and I don't know that I really want to spend that much time playing this game.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it might be the sort of thing where like I'll get an itch every couple of months and maybe jump in and play for a month and sort of complete what there is that month. And so maybe over the course of 20 years, I will finish this game. But do I want to have it as something that I play daily? I honestly do not think that I do. Like it was really fun for the first month. And I think in particular the first month is fun because you're meeting tons of new villagers, you're leveling up really quickly. Like you're just kind of unlocking tons of stuff, and that
Yeah.
feels really good. And then once you kind of come out of that and into, okay, this is what the loop is going to be for the next year or so, um, I think that's when I've sort of bounced off. So when you start up, there's Isabella has sort of like a series of missions to kind of guide you on the sort of things you should be doing. I think they're really well structured as an onboarding mechanic because it forces you to interact with all of the different bits. And like at the start, when you're sort of learning stuff and quite overwhelmed, like there were certain things that I didn't really focus on. And it's because like actually you don't need to focus on them until a little bit later. And now that I've seen all of that stuff and I've completed all of her missions, I'm just like, I think I now that I understand what this game is and how it works and the overall loop, um, I'm not sure that I want to put in the time.
Mm-hmm.
the one thing I will say is uh I feel like decorating your camp is way cooler than I expected it to be. So, you decorate your camp and put down items, but
Hmm.
a lot of the items, because like I find that like what I've done is like, last month was a lot of Christmassy items, so I'll put down those items, and now this month is very focused on the Lunar New Year. So a lot of items that are reflective of that. And when you put down a lot of like the cool big items, the villagers that are visiting your camp like can interact with them.
Oh.
So one of the things that I have in my camp at the moment is a dragon, kind of like the traditional Chinese dragon costume, like sort of style that you would see,
Hmm.
and the villagers will sit on it. Is that culturally inappropriate? I don't know, but they're at least interacting with the furniture that you're putting down, not just sort of awkwardly standing next to it, which is a really, really cool thing to see, and it makes it more fun to sort of visit the camp and see who's visiting.
Yeah, I agree. Like interaction is important with like different pieces of the landscape that you put down and stuff. I think that was one of the my favorite things of the initial ones was having people come over to your house and then see them like sit in chairs and stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
I remember like trying to lure Blue Bear to a chair because I thought she'd be so cute sitting in this one chair. And I wanted to see it, and she just kept like looking at me like, "Can you leave me alone, please? Like, please just sit in the chair." Um, are all of the villagers from all of the games in this game?
Yes.
Okay.
There is, well, I'm going to see it. There are so many villages in this game. It's crazy. I think there's like 360 different villages.
Mm-hmm.
And so like even collecting all of them is an ordeal. Like, because to get all the furniture, you need to first of all get all the villagers, and then you'll need to get them all to whatever level they need to be at in order to, share with you their secret bit of furniture. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's just like there is a lot, to there is a lot to unlock. You will never be wanting for stuff to do in this game. There is so
Good.
much.
Worth the money then. Even if
Absolutely.
even if you're
And
not
and
gonna even if you might fall off every now and then, like it's and I feel like that's how Animal Crossing is. Like to me, it's a spring game. I always played it in the spring. It was just always something that springtime would come and I'd be like, it's Animal Crossing season, baby.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, and I think this is in a very similar vibe where it's like the sort of thing that you could just come back to and make some progress towards, what you whatever your next goal is,
mhm.
and feel satisfied with that. It's I will say the one difference, like if you haven't played it and you like an Animal Crossing experience, the one thing I feel like it doesn't really replicate particularly well is the collecting of fisher and bugs, where
Mm,
you're like, oh, I really want to go and hunt for this one because I'm missing it. You kind of just end up with all of them. There's no museum, um, because it's a mobile game. Like there's not different locations, and I'm not even entirely sure if fish are tied to a certain time of the day. But that experience isn't really replicated in a meaningful way in this game.
mm,
But I think like because so one of the things I was thinking about in preparation for this episode is like so who is this for? Like who would I recommend this game to?
mhm,
And I think if you are out there and you are looking for a mobile game that you kind of just want to get sucked into, you've got to commute to and from work every single day and you're on a bus or on a train or something like that, and you just want something to, kill a bit of time, Animal Crossing Pocket Camp would be very high on the list of things that I would recommend. And the biggest reason for that is it is a complete game.
mm,
The $10 that you would pay now gives you the full experience. There's never going to be a microtransaction. There's never going to be an ask for anything more. It is all there.
mhm.
There is so much to do. Like, this is a very healthy way of having one of these very unhealthily designed games be a part of your life. So if you're going to play something like this, I mean, my number one recommendation would be, Pokemon Pocket TCG. But number two, if you want something slightly more to do, would be Animal Crossing Pocket Camp. I think it's a very good game. I'm just at a point where I don't necessarily want a mobile game taking up a ton of time because I just don't have a lot of downtime at the moment. And when I do, I find the itch to go and play Pocket Camp is actually more harmful. Like I do it and then I feel bad about doing it. So I'm kind of like, let's break that habit.
Yeah. Oh no.
But that's
Uh,
that's a me thing, right?
yeah.
Not any real indictment on this game because this game is upfront about what it is, and you very quickly like it's very quickly apparent that it's on this 3 hour time cycle, and so you will feel that itch every couple of hours to be like, I'll just check in and see where things are at. It's not really hiding from that, and just the fact that there will not be microtransactions makes this a great way to have that sort of mobile experience.
Yeah, I think that's honestly like a really good um like ad for this game is just no microtransactions. Because there's
Yeah.
just they're everywhere in games these days. You can't really, it's really hard to get away from them. And or just ads as well. Like having because there's no ads in this game too, correct?
No,
Yeah.
correct.
I think like that's another thing I really love about Honey Grove is it doesn't have any ads, but then I downloaded the secret third game or whatever that I'm playing that I'm promising will be in a future episode. Um, and the first thing is that there was a banner that has ads in it, and I was like, like I forgot about this. Um, so I mean, right there, like having something that you can play on your phone that doesn't have those things and is a reasonable price, I think is worth it. So
Yeah, I agree.
I have re-downloaded it.
Amazing. Maybe listeners, you'll hear it in a future episode if Cody thinks I got anything wrong in my coverage of Pocket Camp.
Uh, yeah, we'll see. Oh, does it? It doesn't remember me. Wait, does it? Continue. I don't know. We'll see. Oh, it wants me to go to. I don't know my. Oh, it's right there. I'm like, it's like, what's your Nintendo account? And I was like, oh man, I don't know. And then it was like, are you Cody? I'm like, oh, hello. Yes, it is me. Wait for it. I'm almost there. Oh, it wants me to download a bunch of stuff. Okay, I don't know if I'm gonna have the answer to this quickly.
Okay. I feel like
Um,
this is a
I
tune
thought
in next time, listeners, to see if Cody successfully got into her Pocket Camp account.
I thought it would be faster than this, but now it's downloading. It's only at 4%. So yeah, tune in next time. Maybe this game will have taken over my life. Um, but yeah, you will have to listen to next episode for that. So that was our episode, and you have successfully converted at least one person to playing this game. So it is a successful episode.
I wonder what my commission is on that.
Oh, that's a great question. Uh, I don't know what the current rate is. No, this is one of those like, wait, you're getting paid?
Yeah.
Uh, Johnny, where can people find you on the internet?
As always, like we just love to chat in the Slack about the, sorts of games that we're playing, and because I'm not playing a ton of games at the moment, I like to hear about like what games people are enjoying. So if you can support the show, go to patreon.com/thspod, support the show, get access to the Slack, all the good stuff.
Mhm.
See the photos of the was it a pseudo scorpion that you posted?
Yeah, I was a pseudo scorpion. And it was funny because
Um,
I put a thread of it before we released the episode last time, and Kevin was like, "What is this?" And I was like, "Kevin, it specifically said don't look at this thread until you've listened to the episode."
Look, if anyone was going to break it, like it makes sense for it to be Kev. I don't think he has the
That's
willpower to
true.
not look.
Let me see. I definitely have new photos of bugs on my phone.
And what else were we talking about? Oh, that's right. We were talking about gay butterflies in the Slack.
Oh, I was very happy about gay butterflies. We are here for gay butterflies.
We are. So
Um,
if that sounds, uh, exciting to you, then
Uh,
uh,
I'm also about to upload a photo of a lace bug.
amazing.
So,
Um, so yeah, so join the Slack. Other thing I'm just going to shout out very quickly is last week's episode, like just in case anyone missed it, but Cody and Al interviewed
mhm.
the creator of Rusty's Retirement, and that was a really fun interview. So
Yeah.
definitely go back and give that a listen. And I'm just going to submit like my we were discussing what we thought the acronym. Oh, maybe on the show you guys were discussing what should like the name be for Rusty's Retirement Likes.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm submitting boss games, as in
Hmm.
bottom of screen. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna start calling these.
I like that.
Where can
Um,
people find you, Cody?
I am also on the Slack. I am also on Blue Sky. At it's just my name, Cody Mathis. That's mostly for bug content and possibly political content, and DEI stuff, which I will continue to say, even if my government believes it is not a thing. And on Instagram, at Hiking Beagle, BE Eagle, where I post more of like neurodivergence stuff and just other things that make me laugh. You can find Al at the Scottbot on mastodon.scot and other platforms. You can find the podcast on Tumblr and other platforms at THS Pod. You can go to our website for the show notes, transcripts, feed, and give us feedbacks and links. So that website is harvestseason.club. There you'll also get a link to the Patreon that Jonnie has already mentioned. And that is pretty much it for this episode. Thank you, Jonnie, for I guess I am thankful that I got to join you, actually. This was not my episode. I just I was on call.
No, it was a lot of fun. And I'm pleased that you're going to be trying Polar Camp. I like to hear. I'd love to hear about your experience with it. And we kept it short. I didn't jinx it.
And we what?
We kept it short.
We did. We did. Look at us. Who would have thought? Not me.
Yeah, definitely not you. I'm actually
No.
surprised.
Yeah. Oop, it's ready for me to play Pocket Camp. But I'm not gonna tell people. You have to listen to the next episode. Um, but I will tell you, Jonnie, after we're done recording. So
Amazing.
yeah. Thanks for listening, y'all. And until next time, have
Have
a
a
good
good
harvest.
harvest.
The harvest season is created by Al McKinley, with support from our patrons, including our pro farmers, Kevin, Stuart, and Elisa. Our art is done by Micah the Brave, and our music is done by Nick Burgess. Feel free to visit our website, harvestseason.club, for show notes and links to things we discussed in this episode.
Have a good harvest. Good. Let's just see how many different like speeds we can say that and like maybe drive Al
Good.
slightly mad, trying to find two that match up. Have a good harvest.
Have an all right harvest.